Hi, my name is Atikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about Judge Ratamokwatleng. Okay, Judge Ratamokwatleng is wow, is realizing a lot of things. Yeah, but you can see from how he is handling everything, how he reacts to things, how he deflects, how he gets frustrated, how he loses his temper and actually says, "That's why I lose my temper." And how he misdirects himself, how he also misdirects his frustrations, his anger, and everything towards the wrong people in that courtroom. It's a lot, and all of this is happening at once. And also, because he has 56 years experience, perhaps the expectation was to make sure that he uses that experience. But from what we have seen as South Africans is that there's no use of that experience more than the tactics that he's using that are dictatorship in that courtroom. And now he has lost grip of all of that because what he tried to do, speaking over the defense, disrespecting the defense, forcing them to align with him and the state, forcing them into a shell. And the day they decided they are going to vutulula their head and come out of it, that was the day his problems began. That was the day his problems began because he could not see it coming. He thought he had everything under control. He thought he was managing very well until the defense was like, asidlali nawe. Thina asidlali nawe and asizodlalwa nguwe. Because I suppose the defense was like, this is also our careers. We also want to talk about 56 years experience like you. We are not going to allow you to to take us down the drain like that as if we never existed, especially in a high profile case. They were like, no, man, we are not going to do that. We are not going to do that. The pressure on the bench is very high, guys. What's really happening to Ratamokwatleng in the sense of Meru trial is really serious, guys. It's really serious. This this case is carrying three layers of pressure at the same time for him. One, national tragedy, the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. That was a national tragedy. Two, public distrust in policing and prosecution. And now we are also not trusting the judiciary. Do you understand? Number three, a trial that has dragged on for years with constant controversy, and him being the center of controversy at times, Judge Ratta himself. Now that combination creates something raw and something rare, something raw and something rare in law. Name a courtroom where the judge is not just managing law or supposedly managing law, but managing national expectations, media pressure, and procedural chaos at the same time, and a chaos that he creates himself. So those are the things that he is dealing with as a judge and an old man. I think he is in his 80s. Ne? Is he not? Or late 70s, somewhere there, but he's old. Now, this trial has been marked by endless delays, witness contradictions, evidence dispute, phones, ballistics, confessions, legal arguments, inside arguments, trial within a trial. Even Parliament acknowledged the frustration around the duration of the trial. That matters because in law, the longer a trial runs, the harder it becomes to control. Now, what this does to the judge, pressure moves proceedings forward, pressure to control lawyers who are stalling or clashing, meaning that not just the defense lawyers, everyone who is there is a lawyer, right, including the state. Pressure to avoid mistrial or appeal issues, but that one is always requesting them. Is always applying for them. So this, you start seeing a judge who is more interventions, more reactive, and sometimes visibly frustrated. That's what we see. Now, the moment the pressure boiled over, it became a controversial courtroom. It became a controversial courtroom, and there were outbursts everywhere. There were controversial outbursts from uJudge Ratha. At one point, uJudge Ratha Mokgoatlheng made remarks that triggered national backlash, including comments comparing black and white advocates. Parliament called those remarks unacceptable and gross generalization, and legal and political bodies condemned them. He later issued what they call formal apology in court. Even critics acknowledge something about that situation, something important. The judge was frustrated in that courtroom, but it was not just frustration. He is also a big problem in that courtroom. He is a big problem in that courtroom. Now, when he is frustrated with everything that is happening, you see emotional leakage, increased courtroom control that he tries when he tries to interrupt, direct proceedings, limit arguments, and wants them to favor the state all the time. You see those things. And it's called descending into the arena, and it's a red flag, Kesan. It's a red flag. And the procedures that he conducts in that courtroom most of the time, well, there's a lot of risk, if I put it that way. uJudge Ratha is in an impossible situation because he's trying to please Baloyi, but Lady Justice is forcing him to do right by Lady Justice. Do you understand? So there's a lot of things that he's going through. He is going through a lot. There's a lot. Now, the impossible position he's in, this is where it gets real for him. The judge is balancing three risks there. One, lose control of the trial if he lets things run freely. The trial drags endlessly. Evidence becomes chaotic, and that is what he does with Baloyi currently. 5 weeks with Ntanzi. And risk to over control the trial if he intervenes too much. Accused can argue bias, grounds for appeal, or mistrial. Do you understand? That's it. Risk number 3, public perception. Oh, we have comments, Gesana. We have opinions about him. Millions of people are watching the case. Everywhere is scrutinized. Political and racial sensitivity amplified. That is not just pressure. That's a judicial tightrope. And he brought this on himself. He brought this on himself, Gesana. And it's a danger zone now because it's a lot that is happening. He's showing judicial bias, unfair trial, irregular intervention. And all of these things are the problem that he goes home with every day. He is losing patience every day, and he shifts the trial in a direction that is good for appeal court and winnable. That's what he does. Now, he tries to deflect all the time. He tries to, in fact, right now, everything that he has tried in that courtroom to control the defense lawyers and the accused has failed, and it flipped too much for him because now he has lost respect from the defense lawyers and the accused. They don't respect him because of him. They don't respect him because of him. Now, you will see him one day, he does things correctly. Then the next minute, he's back into his better settings of being a tyrant in that courtroom. He's dealing with a lot. And I remember I said Ghost Nation last night, Uguti, he's realizing, he's finding out, he's finding out and also realizing he's in deep shit and this shit is not going anywhere. And he needs to stand firm and tall also while in that situation. And he needs to make sure that things are moving as they need to. He needs to make sure that things are moving as they need to. There's no running away from that. And the only remedy for all of this is for Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng to be a judge that does what a judge does. Be impartial. That's it. And he's failing at that dismally. He's failing at that dismally. Now, these couple of weeks that are coming, couple of months that are coming, are going to prove beyond reasonable doubt whether he is there in the interest of justice. He is going to do things in the interest of true justice, or he is going to do things in the interest of Baloyi. Because Baloyi is not serving the interest of justice there. No, he's not. He's self-serving there. And I don't know why. Yes, there are rumors and accusations out there. There's a lot of things that were said by Advocate Tefo, but he's not serving the Meyiwa family. He's not serving the true justice of South Africa. He's not serving the constitution. He's not. He's doing his own thing, and it's not looking good. You understand? It's not looking good. And now we are sitting here as South Africans thinking, where is this going to go? How is Judge Ratta going to wrap around himself in this? How is he going to get himself out of this situation? Because now, when I say he is realizing, I'm seeing Uguti, he sees there's Madlanga Commission and things get real there. Then there is Nkabinde Inquiry. Things get real there, and it's not child's play. And now we have his name somewhere there in books of rotten dons. It's not good. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts when it comes to all of this about Judge Ratta? I'm saying Judge Ratta is finding out and is realizing at the same time, and he is still about to lose his marbles all over again. You're just going to have to wait and see because, oh my God, nobody wants to find themselves where Abonkosi are sitting, Abofani Nkosi are sitting right now. Nobody wants to find themselves there. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.